Hi.
So that's Anil Gokarn from ProEarth, and we've been working with each other for over a year now, and now he's also a very good friend of ours and Aarohana's customer, personal customer as well as corporate customer, right?
Absolutely.
He's got a lot of gifts from us, so that's something that we always giving each other, because we work for the same cause, right, of creating a better planet. So all of us are together with this, and especially Anil's company and us, we are together doing very interesting work which are complementary to each other, right?
Absolutely.
So Anil is the founder of ProEarth, and they are primarily into organic waste, which is your wet waste, and we are primarily into inorganic waste, which is mainly plastic waste. So there's a lot of synergy that we see in both our organizations. And let's hear a little more about Anil first, and then we have lots more to talk about today. So I'll first have Anil introduce himself. So Anil, could you give us a little background about, we all know that you are not from this field, just like me. You are also a career changer. You come from a different profile altogether. So give us a little background about yourself.
Okay, great. So hi everyone. Hi Amita, and it's wonderful to be here. Together with Amita, starting this live discussion. It's the first time for me to be live on Instagram, so it's great. So talking about myself. So to talk about myself, basically, I was in the auto industry before I started ProEarth, and I worked with the auto industry for more than almost a decade actually. And what became clear to me in all this, when I was working there in the corporate world was we in our country, we've got so many basic issues running. Basically, we've got major environmental issues. We've got basic things like water supply, electricity, sanitation, waste. These are topics that are still not really addressed. And I felt, ultimately I had this very close connect with environmental issues. I had been following organic farming, sustainable living, and so on. And it in 2012, I kind of felt it was time to step in and do something with it on my own. So that's when I left the auto industry, and I worked with an NGO called Innora here, based in Pune, and then started, as a volunteer, and then got into the game of waste management. I really, it was something that really, struck me very deeply, and I felt it's like a mission for me now to get involved in solving these issues which are a crisis right now. So that was the beginning. And then, in 2014, I registered this company called ProEarth, and now we started working with housing complexes to begin to support them with basic activities of composting. So, we basically use techniques which are traditional farming based methods, which are age-old traditions. And we wanted to kind of revive these traditions and bring it to the city, and really also involve people who are not necessarily working in waste, but who are, who are looking for a dignified job in the urban areas. And we started, I started training people, employing them. And so today we have a team of around 20 people. And we go around, we work with about close to 100 housing societies. And we process close to about 5 tons of wet waste every day. And incidentally,
yeah, so that's right. 5,000 kilos
5,000 kilos,
right?
Yeah.
That's a huge amount of impact.
Exactly. And by the way, we continue to do that even in this crisis, because we're part of, the essential services. So if we stop working, then, there's going to be waste piled up in these buildings. So most of our employees continue to work. And so, it's something that even I'm figuring out. It's a new experience for me every day. And, it's interesting to see how situations change in a crisis. And we still need to be there and sort these issues out. It's that basic.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And people who are creating this waste, including all of us, of course, we eat food, so we are going to generate some amount of food waste. But like you rightly said, and we had also demonstrated composting at home a couple of weeks back. So definitely that brings down a lot of waste in the waste stream. But of course, there are people who don't take care of their own waste. At least the societies are doing a good job of composting their waste at the society level rather than letting it go out in the landfill, right? So I think there's a big applaud to the housing societies and people who are aware basically of those kind of housing societies. And secondly, a really big congratulations to you that you have kept up this work during this crisis situation also. We really have such a soft corner for all these people who are going out and risking their lives. Everybody's so scared to even go down from their building to get grocery and just get scared of it. But there are people who are going there and risking their lives every day to take care of somebody else's waste.
Absolutely, that's a fact.
So it's a very big cause that you're working for, definitely.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's
one thing that I think we just forgot to wish our viewers is a very happy Earth Day.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We're all working for Earth, and yes, so it's Earth Day today. And actually, that was one of the reasons why we thought of calling you over for a conversation today, because of ProEarth and what we're going to announce later on also.
Great.
The EcoSocial Planet.
Absolutely.
I'm already excited, but I think we should talk a little bit more about your work first and then go to my EcoSocial Planet. So tell us a little bit more that there are societies who have taken up this decision of composting in their society. But now there are various kinds of technologies which are also used for composting. Some are electric, some are incineration, and then there are traditional technologies, earthworms, and all those. So could you give us a little background of how your technology, what you use, is much better than the alternatives?
Yeah, so absolutely. Just like you said, there are all kinds of methods to do composting. Even in traditional methods, there are so many different ways of doing it. So what we've done is we've perfected a way of, composting using absolutely simple, traditional, low-cost methods. We don't go for any mechanization. We try to avoid the use of electricity. We try to, keep the labor requirement very low. At the same time, we have to ensure, since we are working with wet waste, mainly organic waste, which decomposes, releases odors, it can attract pests, so we have to specifically address those issues. So we've got a very nice system that our partner NGO Inora has developed. They've researched this topic for more than 25 years, 30 years, and we've got their support on technology. We use methods of using coconut-based materials. We have a material composting medium called the compost matrix, which we use, in which most of the waste is mixed. We also use a combination of earthworms, or we use bacteria and a combination of bacteria and fungi, basically combination of microorganisms. And we allow composting to happen naturally as much as possible. So we are not really looking to speed up the process using mechanization. We are not. The only reason that we probably need machines once in a while is basically to bring down the particle size of the waste, to make it a little bit more uniform, and basically to save space. Otherwise, we are looking at a very traditional, simple technique which anybody can do, starting from home. And then it's just that on a more wider scale, when you have to do it on a larger scale, then you have to have a proper methodology and a system. So, and the construction materials that we use basic, red bricks. We try to avoid even the use of concrete bricks, because concrete itself is not a sustainable material in the long term. We use simple, from a social angle, if you look at it, then we are also engaging people who are masons, who are daily wage workers. So we train them up. We bring them into this activity. We also use corner fabricators who are available anywhere. And so the point is the technology is so scalable, it can be utilized anywhere in the country, any corner you can find the skills that are necessary to get this done. So that's the approach that we're taking. And in housing societies, generally people feel that composting or any wet waste management could lead to all kinds of issues of odors. There could be insects going around, there could be vectors, there could be and in today's environment everybody's talking about diseases going around. So the point is sanitizing the waste is very critical. And so we use these biological techniques, very natural and biological techniques, no chemicals used, no other unsustainable materials used in the whole process. And you'll be so surprised that there could be tons and tons of waste lying around inside the compound of these housing complexes, and in most cases residents are not even aware that their waste is lying there. It's that clean, that odor neutral, and ultimately since we are doing it the natural way, the compost that's generated out of it can directly be used for gardening, for farming, and for the next chain of value. So you could then use the same material, take it up on your terrace and start a terrace garden, for example, a completely soilless garden. So ultimately, what is considered waste that could lead to odors and problems and disease and all this is ultimately quickly converted into a wonderful resource. And ultimately, another important aspect of this is we are using decentralized methods, so which means there's no transportation of this waste. So you can imagine how much we are saving over there.
Right. So another carbon footprint comes down.
Exactly.
Because I've heard some societies carrying all the organic waste to some other place and using it and composting it there. So it doesn't make sense. And
exactly.
I assume, and I've also seen some of your work, that you require very less space. So even if in urban societies we don't have so much of space nowadays, so you don't need so much of space. And I think there are ways in which you suggest space management as well, right? So if there's a just single building complex, I'm sure you have alternatives to do that. So you want to touch upon those just quickly on how do you design the compost with such that small housing complexes also can have composting in them.
Yeah, so yes, obviously, the point, space is in urban areas obviously comes at a premium. So that's one of our challenges. And in Pune, although it's a challenge in Pune, incidentally, we've never found a problem finding space, because what is considered space in people's imagination, we have to get creative with that. So what we do is, in many housing societies, we look at all these wasted spaces. Again, we are utilizing wasted space as well. So we are looking around where along compound walls, long compound, narrow spaces, at spaces in between buildings where you've got maybe plumbing lines and nobody is really going to use that. So we find those sort of areas and we set up these composting tanks or infrastructure. We do, in some cases, we do have challenges where there are very large complexes where the density of the residents is so tight. In those cases, we even look at rooftops where we can set up a container, fabricated container unit on the top of a terrace maybe, and we can get this work done. So we've done a lot of that. We've also worked with an example is a large complex we have in Pimple Saudagar, where at Kunal Icon, which is an 800 flat complex, where space was just impossible to find. And ultimately, the committee members was also so innovative that they gave us space in their garbage chute rooms. So we used those rooms, converted them into composting facilities, and spread the entire project across 29 buildings inside the complex.
Oh wow!
Okay. So
Yeah, they can come up with all these creative ideas.
Exactly.
And it is all, so because it is make to build, it's
Yeah.
easy to customize it, as
Okay.
against the large incineration composters or large mechanized composters where you can't do that. You need space to store them. In this case, because yours is a brick and mortar thing,
Right.
you can actually use it anywhere. So that's actually a very good advantage. There was another question that just popped in here, is that do societies pay for this? And I'm sure you can answer this later,
Yes.
but like try to be as short as possible.
Yes.
Because we have a short time.
Sure. So yeah, obviously societies pay for this service, and but incidentally, these payments are so insignificant overall. So, for example, a large society would not need to pay more than maybe 2,500 to 3,000 rupees per family to get the entire setup installed, and not more than something like 70 rupees per household per month to maintain it. So it's not really anything that could turn into a burden to anybody. And the benefits are so humongous and the impact is so huge that it's a no-brainer. I mean, the kind of investments that you need to do and the returns that you get for it, and obviously those returns are on a community-wide basis, on a city-wide basis, and so the impact is huge.
That's excellent. I think if people don't want to take the effort of composting at home, 70 rupees per month is barely a charge that you should pay for the waste that is getting created. Definitely, it shouldn't be a problem, and nobody should actually complain about that. 70 rupees is very. So that's great. Let's come back to the very interesting topic that I wanted to talk to everybody here today, is that you all know us now. We've been in existence for 7 years, but this upcycling of plastic project has come up about 5 years now. We've started doing this, and we focused only on plastic waste because that is what we thought was one of the biggest problems at that point in time, and of course it is even today. And simultaneously, when we met Anil and his company and understood that they are also working with the same passion in this similar topic, which is wet waste, which is also a very, very big topic, we thought of seeing how can we work together and make things happen on a larger scale. Okay, so there was we're very happy to announce to you that we've started an organization. It's an NGO, and we are calling it My EcoSocial Planet. Okay, so we're calling it My, so that everybody can call it My, and actually we can make this into an EcoSocial Planet. And you also know why we call it EcoSocial, because the environment and society come together at once. And both our organizations, Aarohana and ProEarth, believe in creating livelihood opportunities and creating jobs. That's what we are also doing for our tribal and rural people, and Anil is doing for his workers here in Pune. And so we want to make this into a movement. Okay, we're calling this an eco-social planet. It's going to be an eco-social movement, and the most important thing that I want to do right now while announcing this is to tell you that this movement is going to work because of all of you. Because all of you supporters of ours are going to be a part of this movement, and hence we are launching it as My EcoSocial Planet and an NGO, so that all of you can start volunteering for us. We can do a lot. So the most important, that there are 3 things that we want to work on at My EcoSocial Planet. Most importantly is awareness. So we want to go ahead and create everywhere possible across the world, across our planet, about this cause that we are working for, which is sustainable living and eco-social development. And when I say eco is not just waste. Eco is also water. Eco is organic farming. Eco could be terrace farming. Eco is also about energy. It is about livelihoods. It is about ecology. It is about everything. Okay. So waste is not in itself one topic. It's actually a large topic. So it's not, and again, it's not just plastic and organic waste. It's all kinds of waste that we are using and throwing it away. So we are trying to make this into a combined movement, and we can reach to more and more people through this. And that's why we are launching this today on Earth Day. We wanted to announce this, and that's where we are here. We are also, we're going to answer your question, Swapna. Give me a second. Also, what we are going to do is in this awareness session, we are going to create awareness about sustainable lifestyle and zero waste lifestyle, which Swapna is actually asking me here. Is we are going to give tips on that. We're going to launch a lot of workshops. These workshops are going to be for schools, for colleges, for corporates and corporate employees, for societies, urban societies as well as rural communities. It's going to be done in villages as well as in cities. So it has to be a very large scale movement, otherwise it's not going to be possible. And again, only Anil's 20 employees and our 28 employees are not going to be enough. We're going to need more and more support. We're going to need more and more volunteers. So we really, and that's why we are also launching another program, which we are calling EcoSocial Buddies. Okay, so all of you are going to be our EcoSocial Buddies, and with those EcoSocial Buddies, we want to take this movement as far and as wide as possible. So please get in touch with us if you all are interested in being our buddies. And we'll have you registered. We're actually doing this more formally this time because we've always had volunteers working for us, but we're doing this more formally so that we can have people all around the country, of course, and all around the planet who can help us do this. So, take care of all different kinds of issues and activities. So that was one, right? One was awareness. The second aspect which we want to cover in this is creating livelihoods, like I rightly said earlier, but in rural and urban areas. But the livelihoods should be sustainable. It shouldn't be just creating some kind of jobs. So this is related to what we are already doing. We're doing all this upcycling work that we're doing in villages. So we want people to get associated. We want to start more skill development activities, not just weaving that we do, not just upcycling that we do, but more and more crafts we want to associate with this initiative, and that's why we kept it as an NGO, so that again everybody can subscribe to it, everybody can join. And the third thing that we want to do is to create these replicable models. Okay, so right now, like we have a little village there in Dadra Nagar Haveli where we are working. Anil has 100 societies in Pune where he's starting his organic farming. Now, organic composting. But what if we have these modules spread out over various places and make it into a replicable model? So that is again a very important part of our activity. So these are the three things which we really want to work on, and we need your support. So again, we are just starting. So bear with us if there is any delay from us in coordinating with you, but we want your support. So do participate in this. It will be very exciting. Write to us on Instagram or on our Facebook. It will be very interesting to connect with you. And at this point, we also need a lot of skills, right? So Anil being an MS in automotive design, I coming from another background, our whole teams are coming from different backgrounds. So we want more skills associated with this, and we want all these passionate people to come together. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult to go ahead with it.
Yeah, and there's got to be a lot of also there's going to be it's got to be a lot of fun as well. The whole fun aspect, and because working for the environment is always great. And you feel very connected. You feel the power of community when you're working for an environmental cause. And I think that's what we want to kind of bring into this new organization. And I guess there was also the point that related to livelihoods. I think I just wanted to add another aspect of it. I think in this crisis, we've also understood how people are moving between urban areas and rural areas. There's all kinds of migrations happening, which are not sustainable. And I think we're also somewhere looking to see if we can contribute in some way to have people who are living in rural areas find a very a good quality of life. in a manner that they don't need to move. You know, generally, our belief is that urbanization is a foregone conclusion, but I don't believe that. I think we have to look at sustainable ways, both to keep urban centers sustainable as well as our rural communities alive and kicking. We have to contribute in some way.
Very true, because that's where our grassroots are. Still, there's a huge population in the rural areas, and we have we've written a blog also about this. So go ahead and watch that. We're going to work for a lot of interesting things. Also work for all kinds of waste, including sanitary waste, which again ProEarth has written a very interesting blog about. So I would really advise you to go watch both our websites, read about us, what we do, and how can we do more with your support. We would love to connect. There's one question, Anil, for you, which I think I missed out, and this is about composting. Somebody is asking whether you take back the compost if the society doesn't have place to use it. And in this, I also want you to mention about the gardening that we're going to talk about. So go ahead and try to answer the question.
Yeah, so that's a great question, because when a lot of waste is being treated in these housing complexes, obviously a lot of compost gets generated, and most of it can't be utilized within the housing complex. So we have a buyback arrangement. So we pay a certain amount of money for the sieved compost, so that some of the costs of the complex are offset, some of the operating costs. It's not like a return on investment model, because compost is not that, it can't cover all your costs, but at least you get some benefit, some financial benefit for it as well. And we go ahead and utilize we use that compost back into either gardening or some form of agriculture. So that's the I don't know where this disturbance is coming from. Yeah, one second.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah. Okay, that's better.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I was saying, the compost is bought back, and then we also utilize it to make gardens. So incidentally, the same compost can be taken up on the terrace, and soilless gardens can be made out of it. There are really beautiful gardens you can see in the city. Through Inora, Inora has already set up more than 8 acres of gardens on rooftops in the city. Okay, that's quite amazing. Yeah. So, and completely used waste materials, dry leaves, compost.
Soil, right?
Exactly. So there's no need for soil. So you're also avoiding the use of soil and mining of soil from rural areas, transporting that again back to the city, for gardening purposes and all. So even this aspect of the carbon footprint is avoided.
Correct. So this is how we should all think, as in sustainability is the way forward, because unless and until we all think in this manner, I don't think businesses, if they just cover only one aspect of it, like if we cover only plastic and you cover only wet waste, it's not going to happen. It has to be all inclusive. Only then can we really look at long-term solutions, right, Anil?
Absolutely. Okay, and there's also, obviously, if you're growing gardens, then might as well grow nutritional gardens. So we're talking about sustainable food as well. So right from waste, you can actually close the entire loop, right from waste to health, with this kind of a linkage.
Yes, totally. So this is all that we are planning in my EcoSocial Planet, and Anil and I are already very excited about it. We always have long calls and discussions, and all our teams are totally excited. Aarohana's team as well as ProEarth's team are excited about taking this forward. So keep in touch with us. I think we are running short of time. We can have more sessions if you all want. So tell us what topics you want us to cover. But we have to end this session. But I'm really excited about my EcoSocial Planet. So yes, keep in touch with us. Tell us what you want to contribute, how you want to become an EcoSocial buddy. really, really exciting. And this is all today. So all of us should do something interesting today to support our planet. We are doing it by force that we are staying home and not driving around. So that is one thing that we're already doing, but we should do something more also. So great! I'm so glad we had this session, Anil.
Yeah,
Do
wonderful.
you have something to say, and just as a closing comment?
Yeah, I would say, let's you could do something simple today. Maybe just get a selfie of your home compost, or if you're segregating, maybe just take a selfie with your segregated waste and put it up. That would be a great way to make a contribution for today.
Actually, on YouTube, if you search for My EcoSocial Planet, we have started a channel, and you should be able to see some videos that we just mentioned here. Composting at home, segregation of waste. Some videos we've already uploaded. We'll upload this conversation of ours also, so people can have a look at it. I'm excited about it. All right.
Bye.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sure. I think if we talk, there's an echo coming, so you avoid talking further. So yes, thank you so much for watching us, and have a great Earth Day ahead. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We're going to have